Yes, we're building an AI landscape designer. It is really hard to, like, as I was saying, like visualize ideas. And so when you come to our app, you just upload the photos of the areas, and within a minute, get you ideas. The full vision has always been, how do we help someone go from inspiration to execution? How do we create that operating system for home improvement? I would dare to say that it's probably the best looking landscaping app out there. Our cloud provider told us we don't have more GPUs. We're
Man,
maxed out. We want to become the operating system of home improvement in the exterior. That is the North Star.
today I'm joined by Luis Benavides, the CEO and co-founder of Neighborbrite, a seed stage startup that is on a mission to empower everyone to redesign their outdoor spaces and bring them to life seamlessly. Let's begin. Luis, thank you so much for coming to the show. Very excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So let's dive in. Can you tell me what you're building and what is that big problem that you're trying to solve?
So yes, we're building an AI landscape designer, and the problem came from looking at where people got stuck when they were, you think about a remodeling or any home improvement process, especially when we were looking at this problem, people would spend months and months collecting images all around the place on Pinterest and having their mood boards and stuff, but they just kind of get stuck there. And they couldn't actually put everything together, visualize, and start their projects. So that's where we kind of started thinking, hey, we launched our app actually almost 2 years, exactly 2 years ago, and we were trying to tackle a different problem. So this was our first pivot, but it was actually helping homeowners hire landscapers or hire contractors to do home improvement, and we just figured that was the place where people got stuck. It was like, how do they turn inspiration into actual something that is executable? Generative AI was getting to a point that was useful to generate inspiration, so we could create a better Pinterest, so to speak. And that was kind of the beginning of the kernel of the idea. But the full vision has always been, how do we help someone go from inspiration to execution? How do we create that operating system for home improvement where all the players are in there?
Yeah, I mean, that problem resonates with me as well. Uh, okay, so that makes sense. Interesting. Now, I know you've mentioned that you help customers basically to take the idea from concept phase all the way through completion. How do you achieve that in more detail? If you can maybe provide kind of a walkthrough through the customer journey end to end, that'd be helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So imagine you're this person thinking about, like, hey, I just moved into this place, and I want the yard, I want the place to feel mine. That's kind of like the process that every person that moves goes through. And you have some ideas in your mind of what kind of would go in the outdoors. Actually, people at first start with the indoors in remodeling and all of the stuff inside, and then they focus on the outside. That's kind of the general process. And when you're looking at the outside, it is really hard to, like, as I was saying, like visualize ideas. And you could pay thousands of dollars to a designer, but you're not ready to do that yet. So you kind of get stuck there. So when you come to our app, you just upload the photos of the areas, and within our goal was to get you within a minute, get you ideas. So like in a minute, you use our app, you sign in, and you generate, hey, how would this space look if it was Mediterranean style or cottage style, English style, or whatever style. So that's the beginning of the journey, is like, help me ideate. And then we have been building the app towards the execution. So the next step you take is like, hey, I like this, but I don't like these other things. So we started building a lot of editing tools into the app. So you can, for example, we have a feature that is called Add Elements. So you can actually manually, and this was basically because AI was not really, you tell it to place something specifically in this place, it's not going to do it. So we were like, okay, let's just build the framework so that you
Mhm.
can just drag and drop a tree, or drag and drop a chair or a pergola, whatever you want to put on your patio, and start just visualizing yourself. So you're like, slowly you start building the thing that you like. And we kind of, the idea was, as if you were talking to a designer. Is like, hey, I like this and that, and then the designer is like, what about that? So that's kind of like the conversation you have with the app. You tell it what you want, and the app responds to, what about this? What about that? And it is intended to be a very, very user friendly. We kind of designed it thinking Instagram, like you scroll through photos, and that is or Pinterest, you scroll through ideas that the AI is giving you. And then from there, the you can get beautiful pictures, but is this plant going to survive in my yard? So that's where we started building all the intelligence, like the plant knowledge, the horticultural knowledge on the app. So we now understand, oh, you are in this city, so you have a particular climate, and based on this climate, only these plants can survive this climate. Or, oh, in this part of your yard, you get a lot of sun, or it's very shady, and that gives you many like it limits the number of things that you can put in the yard. So then we started adding all that intelligence, and it ends up it goes all the way to giving you a plant list. So imagine the flow is you get an initial image. Sometimes customers are like, "That's it. That's what I want to do. What are those plants so I can go to the nursery and buy them?" So that was the first question. So we started building the plant. Imagine like a plant ID, but the plant ID also gives you substitutions. So you
Hmm.
you get like, oh, this looks like a yucca, but it could be an agave. It could be this type of grass. So you kind of like, what is the functional part of that plant in the design, and what plants can you buy that actually work with your climate? And once you get there, we actually started a partnership with Thumbtack, and you
Nice.
can find local landscapers to go and execute the the call out in the app is get a quote. So you created the image, get a quote, get it executed, and there's no better way. Like if you talk to landscapers, they're like, there's nothing better than a customer that knows what they want,
Hmm.
and they have a clear vision. And so I just for me, quoting is easy. I just like, oh, that's what you want. Let's talk about the costs, and then you have a project. So that's the place where we got it right now, and we are working towards the next steps of involving more players. But yeah, that's the initial. That's what you can see today in the app.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty smart. When you give customers that little nudge or visibility into next steps by providing integrating that thumbstack, that's pretty smart, I think. And then, so thumbstack integration, do they have to go then to a different platform to book them, or it's still within your platform where they can see like the vendors and they pick and choose?
Within our platform. Just so
That's
you,
awesome.
we list, right there when you're scrolling through your designs, you see get a quote from local landscapers, and there's a list of like the top three.
Nice.
And the action is get a quote, get a free quote. You click there, and it opens a sub window within our app, and you can just follow the flow and request the quote. So there, you never leave our app from
Yeah,
from
that's
that
nice.
perspective.
That's nice. That's smooth. And then when it comes to, I guess, personalization items, what are some of those cool elements they can tweak and customers can play around with, basically?
Yeah, it's like it's generative AI. So it's like whatever you want, we have all sorts of tools that we initially we were kind of like, if you think about it, is like we were using models from companies that had them available, but in 2 years we've had to build for several use cases several models. So yeah, we're hosting our own models, and we tweak them and put them together and train them in a way that it works for our particular use cases. So we have a tool called Magic Edit, and that is like once you get everything ready, you're like, oh, let's change the color of the door to this, and then boom, it does it. So like it's like those final touches are there. There's another feature that lets you add by image. So you're like, oh, I'd like a pergola, but the one you have is not exactly the one I want. So this is the photo. It's like an inspiration photo of my pergola, and then you render that pergola, and it renders it right there where you want it. Um, what other personalization features? Yeah, like the custom styles that you can create
Hmm.
yourself, providing images and saying like, yeah, I want something like this, and render it in my own image. Uh, there's a erase, like a magic eraser that we have as well. So like there's a particular thing in your yard that you don't like, just circle, boom, it goes away. So it kind of like lets you express Like if you think about ChatGPT, like how far you can get with ChatGPT with words,
Mhm.
there's only so much you can do. But we go the extra mile on letting you. Oh, actually, one of the things that separates us from a lot of other companies that are doing generative AI is that we built this selection tool. So you don't just give the image and say do something. You can say like particularly here I want X. So you can express that also visually, not only with words. So that kind of like improves the success ratio of the things you can do.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Awesome. And today, I know you have free tier as well as paid tier. So I'm curious, what are some of those features that paid customers get on top of the free tier?
Yeah, so free tier is our the inspiration side of the app. So we have it's you get 4 generations for free every day. So we have a ton of those users that they just want to see like, oh, how would this look like in British and or sorry, English garden or cottage garden. And then when you go to Pro, you get all these additional features that let you customize. So that's when you get the add elements feature where you can drag and drop elements there. You can have to actually even draw a path. There's nothing more frustrating than telling an LLM, put a path that goes from A to B. Like, oh man, so we build it so you can just like say this is the path. It goes from here to here, and it's flagstone, and it just renders that flagstone path there. So that is another one. Magic Edit is another one. The plant lists is another one. So basically, with the free version, you get the basic rendering, which a lot of people use and love. And then with the pro version, you get to make it your own, so to speak. It's like that's when you put in your own input into the image. And we do have a business version that removes the watermarks and lets you also get high quality prints so that if you want to have a big image with printed out, there's an auto enhance, and we're working on building additional features for professionals as well.
That's awesome. Now, uh, how do you keep users engaged after their like initial project that they build? What are some of those like value adds that you provide beyond that first project, I guess?
Yeah, this has been like the very often a question like, do you keep people engaged? And we actually don't think about it. If you think about the user, the user that we started building for is the homeowner.
Hmm.
They have a project, and when they do the project, they're ready, they're done. So there's no need for us to try to keep them like, hey, come back. You have another project. Some folks there are like really great apps that help you take care of plants, for example. What are or if the plant is unhealthy, what can I do? What kind of fertilizer? So we didn't think we could like actually bring a lot into that space, or so far like the main gap in the market, so to speak, is has been on the design side of
Hmm.
things. So we have not even like really tried to create features or create a product that people come back, every day for, all along the year. So we think about, we can get into that later and like how our strategy works, but our user, the homeowner, is a user that comes in, has a project, and we help them work with the project. So we are an AI landscape designer, and we engage with landscape designer when we have a project, and when we're done, we're done. And that it brings us to a different place when we start thinking about the other personas we're building for. But that isn't something that we actively develop or work on.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, you've kind of alluded a little bit on the technology side of the product. Can you maybe talk a little bit more what AI technology powers the design engine, and then just provide a little more color on the technology side of things?
Yeah, so we've been very agnostic in terms of technology. Like not agnostic is more like practical. We are not focused on the technology as much as we are focused on solving a problem, a user problem. I come from from product is my background, so it is for me. It's all about like what is the tool, the best tool to solve this problem right now. And there are some tools that we are like a model that erases an element using AI. there are so many out there in the market. There is no point on us developing this tool, this model, right? Or training it or anything. It's just like it's already performing at a really good, 99%, 95% success ratio. So that for those use cases, and think about it like each of our models and our pieces of technology are geared towards a use case. For the realistic renderings, that's where we have invested the majority of our work, where we've
Hmm.
been kind of like hosting our own models. We have our own GPUs. How do we tweak the model in a way that is able to render something that looks realistic? I would dare to say that is probably the best looking, landscaping app in out there. Like in terms of the quality of the images that are generated, that's what we've been focusing on, and that's kind of the wow factor. That's the kind of like we've had a lot of publicity, that unpaid publicity of users who just use it and they're like, oh, this looks like so real. Like, what is the AI part? What is the non-AI part kind of thing? So that is the part where we invest a lot of stuff. And then there are some models that we're kind of like plugging them together. I won't get into the specifics of what we're using because that's kind of our secret sauce. But in terms of the technology, is like there are things that are our priority that we host, that we do our own models, and then there are other things that we just take out of the box from providers that are doing a great job at that.
And so far, as you're building these features and the company itself, what has been maybe one of the biggest challenges, and how did you overcome that?
One of the biggest challenges.
It can be technical or maybe beyond technical aspects.
Yeah, like I would say the focusing, like finding the user to build for, and really being, you know, disciplined about who you're building for and not trying to build for everyone. So at the beginning, we kind of we didn't know exactly what was the actual perfect user, and we were like, well, is it designers? Yeah, this would help designers a lot. They have these drawings and they can throw a drawing and then they get a rendering. And same thing with landscapers. They have a particular, use cases and all of that. And just having and also like seeing the opportunities just kind of popping everywhere. And we got like, I don't know, I remember we get still like three, four, large companies a week or so that they're writing, and they're like, hey, I have this big project. I'm interested in your software. Can you do white labeling? And so we're like, oh, white labeling is also an option. And it's like, do we do an API and all of that stuff? So I think just having the discipline, and also together with like, this is a long-term play. And you brought up a very clear question at the beginning, is like, how do you keep people engaged if these are people that come and go and then they're gone? It's like, no, 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 this is the right user. And if I kind of like develop a little bit, my point is like, in a two-sided marketplace like landscaping, the side of the marketplace that is going to drop $15,000, $20,000 on a project, if you have that side with you, then you're good. The other side will come. That kind of there's a hard part, a hard side, and an easy side of marketplace. I wouldn't say easier, less hard, I guess. But yes, like they just getting the discipline of like, yeah, there's churn. I don't call it churn. I call it people come for a project and they are done with the project. So that it is a project based service that we are offering, and that is what it will unlock in the future if you get it right. That is what matters. So just getting that discipline right is hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's very wise. It's very probably easy to lose your focus, and but you got to stay focused, I guess, and do 10x better for your ICP or 100x better for your ICP, and start from there. That leads me to my next question. Who is your ICP? Is it just homeowners? Or it sounds like it's more because you have a pro plan now for businesses. So who are those ICPs on both sides?
Yeah. So I think the best way to describe the ICPs is that our company, the vision of the company is building the operating system for landscape, not landscaping only, but starting with exterior. So home improvement in the exterior. And there are, I would say, three phases of our business. The first phase of our business is building a landscape designer for homeowners. It's winning the landscape. Sorry, not the landscape designers, the homeowners. So it's winning the homeowners. that is the best the first bet that we have. And yesterday we were celebrating 500,000 registered users. So it was like, okay, so that, that's enough validation check, sort of. Of course, then we want to get to millions, but the enough validation that homeowners have found this very useful. The next, once you have homeowners, we will develop. We're working on developing, like, the think about the marketplace, initially two-sided. Now we're moving to landscapers, and the needs for landscapers are actually quite similar to homeowners. Thankfully for us, it is like, no, I want to go to a customer and I want to show them what is possible, and the customer that sees things like on the spot, it's a customer that is much more convinced. They can close sales much quicker. I have landscapers that call me and say, like, dude, I just closed a 100K business just because of your app. The homeowner was so impressed. So it is like, the landscapers have this single player mode where they can use this as a sales tool, a visualization tool, to work with the homeowners, and the homeowners similarly. It's kind of like serves the same purposes, but in different ways. So the first stage is building for homeowners. Second stage, building ICP, is landscapers. And the third stage of the business is when we start adding the retailers. So there's nothing, and this is something we're starting, nothing to announce yet, but we're kind of like working right now on it and ready, in the next, I would say, couple of weeks. We would have, we're starting a partnership with nurseries, and the idea here is, like, there's no one better that knows what grows good in the region than your local nursery. So whatever they carry in their inventory, it's actually all good. It's like hardness zone is matching, the pH of the soil matches. So there are so many variables of what plants grow well in different regions. Like even the colors, like, I didn't know that hydrangeas. I live in Utah, so the purple colored hydrangeas, they don't grow in Utah because of the pH of the soil. They need more acidity, whatever. That all of those things you learn from nurseries, because people come and say, like, give me the purple hydrangeas, and they're like, no, we don't have those. So the idea, that's when we start integrating them and their inventories into our platform. So now when you're designing as a professional, or as a homeowner, you're also seeing, like, oh, this is what I can buy locally.
Hmm.
So it is like much more actionable than, oh, this plant lives in your region. No, this plant lives in your region and is available at this nursery. Go and order. Um, and think about it as, like, from hardscape suppliers, like buying rock, buying mulch, buying all these different things, the pergolas, all these tiles, whatever is needed in order to design your exteriors. So now you see that there is, like, all of these players come in, and it's the same product, it's the same
Hmm.
designing, but design is so fundamental to start the project. Like, what are we going to do, especially for this kind of things? Is like, now you have the picture, you have the things, you have the materials, and that kind of unlocks as well the two versions of homeowners: the ones that are like, I want to do it myself, or the ones that are do it for me. So if I'm not doing it myself, I know where to buy the plants. I can just get it done. That is so three ICPs: homeowners, landscapers, and lastly suppliers, retailers of all the materials.
That's awesome. That's very exciting stuff. And congrats on the number of users. That's a big
Thank you.
milestone. And that's something I wanted to ask as well. Can you share any other key metrics about the market traction that you've been having so far? Number of users is one. Is there anything else that you can share? And of course, without divulging anything sensitive.
What can I share? I think the number of users is the main metric that we share. Well, over 10 million designs is another metric that we've been sharing uh,
Nice.
uh, as well. So they not only is it, people, although they stay for a short time until they finish, they go and, like, create all sorts of images. We actually had to put the four generations a day limit, because and this is true. Um, I don't want to say which cloud provider, but our cloud provider told us, we don't have more GPUs. We're
Man,
maxed out. We
wow.
can't give you more GPUs. So we were like, okay, we need to do something, because, like, there are people paying, and the people paying are not getting the quality of service that they expect. So we had to put a cap, and it's kind of also different from other companies that right now it's really hard to find any AI provider that gives you a free tier. Almost everything is paid from the beginning, even trying. And we from the beginning, with we our idea was actually, this should be almost free from the consumer perspective. So that's how we gain all the demand, and then the supply is the one that is going to pay us because we're going to give them business. That was the thought process there.
It's interesting. I'm assuming your cloud provider is one of the three big ones, and I would never expect them to say something like, "Hey, we don't have enough GPUs." It's
Yeah,
impressive,
the
and it's
scaling, the
kudos.
scaling was the automatic scaling. The one we are with right now. Well, I can say that because we're happy. Azure is
There you go.
our GPU cloud provider,
It's a good
and
problem to have.
they are like, they scale all the way. Like we've had times where we're like, oh holy, that's a lot of that's a lot of GPUs that we are spinning up. But yeah, especially these at the beginning of the year in spring was crazy. We got a couple influencers posting about us, and got millions of views and stuff. So a lot of people came over and checked it out.
Is that the main way how you acquire customers today, like through influencers and social media, or is there something
It,
else?
no, I would say the because we were so early, we are very active in social. So we've gotten, I wouldn't say it's half, but I would say probably a third of our traffic has come from social.
Okay,
And this is a combination of Reddit posts and influencers themselves. We've had the I don't know let me answer the at a high level.
sure.
So yeah, like a third is about social and all of that. The majority of the traffic, I would say that two-thirds ish, has been search.
Got it. Got it.
People searching for AI landscape design, they find us. That has been, although people say like people, Google is bringing less. We are also getting not one of our top sources, I can say, is OpenAI. So that people asking LLMs for, hey, how can I do AI design? We
Mhm.
are one of the recommendations.
Now, let me take you back. Can you talk about your background, your co-founder's background, education, and prior projects work history? That would be very interesting to hear.
Yeah, for sure. So I am an engineer by training. So my bachelor's was telecommunications engineering, and after I studied that, I did a master's in and like an MBA in Europe, and right like off the MBA, I got hired by Google in Ireland. And so so like engineer by training, and at Google spent most of my career doing product related things.
Mhm.
So although it is what I do code and I can code, I'm not a proficient coder. But now with the vibe coding thing, I'm able
Yes.
to push changes in our code base after my co-founder reviews them, I guess. Uh, they don't get pushed to production without review. But yeah, so my engineering, and at Google I spent over 14 years in different roles, and among the things I did on product, I worked as a product manager for Google Shopping. So I did all sorts of marketplace related things, like on the ads marketplace. I did work on the apps marketplace, just building solutions for gaming companies to monetize. And yeah, like Google Shopping, I worked on the recommendation systems, and then at the end, I was working on search quality. So yeah, a lot on AI. Like all my career at Google was AI related. And Yao, my co-founder, he's in PhD, and he worked as a researcher, an AI researcher at Google. Uh, Went over and did a startup IB, doing like visual recognition of shopping patterns, among other things. And then was leading a team of researchers at Meta. So he brings all the kind of the AI expertise, all the he's the one that built all the models and all these custom things that we've done. So yeah, so essentially I take over all the product design, side of the business. I look after that, and he looks after all the technology.
That's pretty impressive background, and I can see you guys have complementary skills to each other. And
For
did you guys
sure.
meet at Google or somewhere
We
else?
didn't meet at Google. I think we didn't coincide at Google. Interestingly enough, I was working with a different CTO before, and didn't work out. And the things didn't work out. So I started looking for a co-founder, and of all places, I went to the YC co-founder match. And yeah, I found the best co-founder ever. So I recommend it every time. We didn't go to YC, but I found my co-founder, which is way more valuable, I guess.
That's all awesome. And a little about me, I usually sit on that website as well, and I find it very helpful. Like I meet a lot of great people and very smart, intelligent. Uh,
Amazing. Yeah, I met great people there, and I couldn't have been better. We've been working together for a year, and yeah, the best co-founder I could ever have wished.
that's awesome. Great to hear, Liz. Now, switching gears to competition, I know you kind of alluded some of the elements, but if we would summarize what makes you different from existing those tools, whether it's I believe it was iScrape or homedesigns.ai, what makes you different? If you can kind of summarize that point, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, among those two, only like if we are focusing on the design market.
Hmm.
So you can think about like different players there. There are the app related players like Icescapes that you mentioned. There are the AI players like Home Designs AI, and there are plenty of others. And then there are the proper services companies like Yardsen and others. And so the place where we play is we're trying to give a service at the level of a professional designer,
Hmm.
like the we like if you think about the expertise on the subject matter expertise, all the AI companies are not thinking of like, hey, what is this plant good for full sun in hardiness zone 7B? Like they're not designing that kind of product.
Hmm.
And even when you think about other ice caves and stuff, they don't go at that level, like identifying the plants that will or maybe they do. I haven't played with their product enough, but I would say for if you compare with all these vectors, if you think about the professional designer, the yard sense of the world, you pay thousands of dollars, you get a really good design, but it's pretty costly. If you think about the ice caves, their AI, the you need to know what you're doing essentially with a software like Icescapes, or to that extent any landscape design software. You're like given free range of like, oh, I put a tree here, I put a plant here. The key thing is making that look beautiful. You need to be a designer to be able to get that working, and that's what the limitation of those apps are. And I would say on the other end, the pure AI, I feel that they're trying to do everything. So they do outdoors and indoors and all sorts of like everything you can do at your home. But I wonder, like they don't get it as deep as us. And we decided, well, let's go deep into landscaping and really nail that use case. So that we can, like, if our goal is just only visualize, maybe that those AI companies do a good enough job. But if our job is to get the design like actionable to execution, we really need to drill in and learn about the subject matter. So
Nice.
that differentiates us from that
That's
part.
awesome. Now, looking into the future, let's say 3 to 5 years, what is the North Star for the company? And also, like, what are some of the cool features that users can expect in the near future?
Oh, without spilling the beans. Yeah, I would say so. Like just in general, like I think it's all about the vision, right? Is like we want to become the operating system of home improvement in the exterior. That is the North Star. So how much of the market or of the industry moves, are we helping? That is like you can think about it as GMV, or the exchange of value in that supply chain. And so in the sense like that, that is why we're working on this three-pronged strategy of like, let's get the demand. Let's get the supply. Let's connect demand and supply. Let's bring materials. Like that's all. Like those are all the layers. So without spilling the beans of like cool features that you can expect, is like think about features that help homeowners be more effective. Think about landscapers being more effective, and among being more effective is also being able to, for example, price a project. And if we're connecting with the retailers, now you know what the price of the plant is, and you already have the plant list. It all becomes like so much easier and so much more effective for all the players. So we want to be there. We want to be and play that role in the industry. And so in 3 years, hopefully, we are working with all these three ICPs and providing value in every single direction.
Now, as you grow the company, you would need to hire more and more people. I'm curious to learn, how do you approach hiring? Like, what are some of the qualities that you look for in candidates that's most important to you?
The so the we are like this is one of the things that hiring is one of the things that we've been learning a lot as we go. And from the get-go, we set up kind of like a culture document, so that even before we started with my co-founder, we wrote a culture document of like what is the type of person we want. And we essentially took things from the companies we've worked at, and we love the customer centricity of pretty much every successful company. Like, I think Amazon, think Google, like user first. That was kind of one of the first tenets. And so we are looking for someone that thinks and lives the customer. So when we interview, we want to hear, when I ask you as an engineer or as anything, it's like, why did you do this? Or like, what was the best project you worked on? You're not like, oh, the technology X was great, and I learned this protocol, and I learned this, but what was the thing you were solving? So thinking about like putting yourself in the shoes of the user. So that is number one. And then just like among things are like moving fast and that velocity and having initiative. We hate we're terrible micromanagers, both of us, and not because like if I when I try, I'm angry about it, because like I micromanage when things aren't working, and that is like the worst kind of situation. So it is someone that has agency and it just goes out and executes and brings ideas to the table, that is able we like to be the candid feedback kind of thing. We like to have it there. Every time there's a proposal, I like people to say like, I disagree, but then after some disagreement, we need to disagree and commit. So that's one of the other principles that we love from Amazon, is like, there's only so much you can discuss. And actually, one of the things that frustrated me at Google was like, the this is a consensus driven company. So like, if you didn't have everyone on board, the project wouldn't move. So it could take quarters and quarters to get a project off the ground, because someone was not really sold on it, or there was like, I guess that culture works in many other ways, I guess. But but we, like when I worked at Coinbase later on, I saw how different and how fast things, like decisions, were made. If there was a single decision maker and he's like, okay, everyone's input is here, but now we're making a decision and the decision is done, move on. Learn, iterate, that kind of thing, but is more action driven. Yeah, so like all of these characteristics we're looking for from people. We are all remote at the moment. Um, so it kind of like, it's even more important that we don't even know if you're working or not. We've set a lot of processes to kind of keep us linked and connected as we work every day. But yeah, like the agency is one of the most important things there
Yeah,
as well.
that makes sense. Love to hear those qualities. That all makes sense. Now, let me flip the question. And if I ask you, why would those candidates join Neighborbrite? What would you tell them? Why should they join?
Yes, with there are several things. So with the engineers, my pitch is, you're joining a team that is like, at the edge of the technology. Like, we're pushing the envelope. We're learning things every day. So if you want to come here, you're going to be learning a lot. You're going to be working with Yao, who's my co-founder, who's been doing, it's a great it's one of my best selling points, I would guess. Like for many engineers working and learning from a very experienced and successful engineer, that is another thing that I loved about Google. Like you had Vint Cerf, and you had all sorts like the creator of Python, and all sorts of like celebrities in the technical world there. So I think that there's a passion for learning. There's a passion for pushing the envelope. Um, and it's a team that is very honest, is a team that that wants to move fast, and that wants to really have an impact in the world. Like we're tackling a big problem. This is like a multi-hundred billion problem, in this particular industry hasn't really adopted technology. So we're kind of bringing this technology to a new segment of the industry, and also is a segment that is probably the last one, or one of the last ones, that is going to get automated by AI or so. Like it's going to take a long time until robots are going to start, planting your agaves. So, yeah, it's like a long-term, big, hairy goal, and it's exciting. It's really fun
Yeah.
to work on.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear about the impact that you guys are building. All right, so let me take you now outside of work. What kind of hobbies would you like to do?
It depends on the season here. So in the winter, I love snowboarding. I live very close to the ski resorts. And yeah, snowbird is right like 20 minutes drive from my place. So I do like doing that. For example, during the winter, I take a couple mornings in the week, and just do a morning snowboarding session, and then come back and continue working. I don't go on the weekends. It's very crowded. But yeah, snowboarding in the winter. During the summer, I picked up mountain biking, which is kind of like using the same mountain but in the summer. And yeah, those two things are kind of sports wise what I love doing the most. And then I also love playing guitar. I go to jam sessions when I can. There are like a couple jam sessions in the area, and I've played guitar all my life, so that's I wish I was better, but that's one of the things that for me is like meditation. You pick up the guitar, and then you get lost. Like time flies, and everything else kind of like fades away as you're kind of like tackling a song, or like improvising. For me, like that's kind of like gets your mind really going, and thinking what you want to play next. So yeah, those are my main things.
That's awesome. That's a lot of talents you have.
I don't know if challenge, but I do enjoy those things.
So I know we've talked a lot about the company, about the product, about the team. Now, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you want to share with the audience?
I mean, the obvious thing would be for folks to try Neighborbrite, but that's the too obvious. And I'm wondering, like one of our discussions around, you know, we've been thinking about job replacement, and the all the this the types of startups that are coming out. Like we are the AI landscape designer, there's the AI programmer, and there's a lot of thoughts about like, is there a job replacement? Are people gonna have like a worse time later on? And I think that is a conversation that goes through our minds, and goes back and forth. Since the beginning, one of our advisors is also working as he's also working as a consultant, John. He's the landscape designer for the BYU campus here in Utah. And he reached out to me, and is like, I'm really excited about what you're doing. So we talked a lot, and he's helped us develop the app. So he's kind of like the landscape designer in residence, so to speak, and he helps us kind of like design the app, and make sure that it really has the proper uh, knowledge built into it. And he's like, what you're doing, like you're not replacing any landscape designer, because there's no landscape. The majority of the people just don't hire landscape designer. And I think this applies to many things that AI is doing. Is like, the I think the percentage was like 90. 95% of people don't hire landscape designer. It's not something I don't have the actual number, but it was like the vast majority don't have a landscape designer. So we come in and we help 95% of people. Not only are like we filling a huge void in the market, but also we are also increasing the amount of landscaping that is done in the industry. So we're also growing the market. Think Uber. You know, Uber is not like the the taxi industry. Uber just made the whole pie much larger. So I like to think, I mean, that when we discuss that we are essentially growing this pie. So whatever landscaping is or exterior design is today is going to be way bigger, because like you will have also design expertise for every little thing you do. You cannot get a landscaper to build a little planter. They will be like, oh, that's too small. I'm not going to go there. So yeah, like we're definitely, we think about it as growing the pie for everyone.
Yeah, that's very relevant, I would say, kind of perspective, and would help people probably to change their take on like AI and replacing labor. It's more about probably creating additional value on top of the existing that you have in the market today. Well, Luis, thank you so much for coming to the show. Really enjoyed our conversation, and hopefully we will meet sometime soon again, and you will have even bigger successes to share.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.